Oh, hi! This week, we gotta talk about the skirt because I hate it. That's not true. There are elements I love about this skirt, but there are some actually quite easy to fix, huge issues that I have with it. It is just now occurring to me that this is a rainbow fabric project coming out the first week of June. Don't get me wrong, I try to practice good allyship, but as a very like vanilla, straight white cis lady, I don't feel like I should be having a voice in this other than support. But I'm gonna shut my ads off for this video so it doesn't feel like I'm profiting off of this, because that makes me feel very gross. Yes, it is just rainbow fabric, but there's other implications with that some companies bring into their branding this time of year, and sometimes it's great and the money goes towards a good cause, but sometimes it's just blech. Ugh, I don't like how that feels. If you do want money to go to some good causes, I will link to some charities in the description. If you are feeling inspired to put money towards me, I'd rather you put it towards that. Anyways, immediately onto a soapbox. Let's sew some pretty things, shall we? Here are my problems with this skirt. Obviously, the fabric color and design and print is chef's kiss. I'm sorry, Clinton. The makeup of the material is real shit for hot weather, where I thought it's like this drapey, smooth silk fabric. It's nice and soft. Surely it's breathable. No, 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 no. It is like wearing a sheet of plastic on my legs. And because it's so long and the corners hang down, it covers too much of me and it's fucking intolerable. Additionally, I hate the corners. I thought having a handkerchief skirt, why do I always want to say scarf, would be fun. And maybe I just need to go with a shorter length. But then where the peaks are, where the top bits are, my junk could be hanging out. So I don't know how else to tackle this. Because in theory, I'm here for it. In practice, with this particular project, very not here for it. But these goddamn things get stuck in the car door. They got stuck in a sliding glass door one time and I almost ate shit super hard. And they'll like drag in the dirt if I'm sitting in a camp chair outside or something. So getting rid of the corners, getting rid of some of the length. What else is the issue? The hand sewn hem, which I thought surely doing blind stitches by hand very tediously would be the best finish for this. But can you see? I hate it, and it's all I can look at when I wear this. So from the outside, you can see all of it. There's no hiding anything with this fabric. It drives me nuts, where I'm very proud of the stitching I did, but I just hate how the bottom edge looks. And then, because the corners hang down, you can see the entire underside of it, where, yes, again, I'm proud of the stitching I did, but like, I don't want to see the inside of the hem most of the time I'm wearing the skirt. So, here is my tactic. Because there's nowhere to hide on this fabric, I am going to do something I've never tried before. I think I'll like it because of how I did the elastic at the top, this kind of like narrow elastic waistband. I think doing a narrow edge with double fold bias tape is gonna be the best finish for this. I don't know, I don't see a lot of skirts that are trimmed with bias tape at the bottom, and I wonder if there's a reason for that I'm not aware of. I'm gonna do it. We'll see how this turns out. This is a little bit stiff, but I don't hate that because it's just gonna give some more shape to the bottom. Like the fabric here is like invisibility cloak watery, so adding a little body to it I don't think is going to be the worst thing, but we'll see. We're experimenting. I just don't like wearing this otherwise, so I gotta do something to it or I gotta donate it, but it can't stay in my closet. This is one of multiple projects I'm tackling for the closet overhaul skirt episode I'm working on right now. If you would like to see me tackle my dresses and my tops, first things first, we're gonna cut off the bottom of most of this. Let us away to the cutting table. I wasn't like mega precise about this, because when am I like that about anything? I folded the skirt on the cutting table into fourths because it's a full circle and that's too much fucking fabric for this surface. And then I took a measuring tape and some chalk and marked down from the shortest part of the folded up edges, and then I just marked 20 inches across the whole thing. I fucked up and I had the tape down like an extra inch at the middle point, so you can see when I'm going to cut, I noticed that like the curve just looks janky, so I decided to just eyeball it in the end anyway. So not exactly perfect, but I mean, not too bad, you know? This seems like, even though it is not super breathable fabric, it will be tolerable in the heat. I actually hated how much yellow was in it, so having just a smaller corner, there's more of this fabric happening. I'm just a cool toned bitch, so I like that side more. Okay, now I have this continuous raw edge over here, and this is very shreddy fabric. I'm going to take this plain black double fold bias tape. I bought it pre-made because the yardage I'm gonna need for this. I don't have black fabric to cut up to make it in the first place. And also I don't love making bias tape. Just brings me back to all the fucking face masks that I made last year, and I am dead inside because of those when it comes to bias tape. So I'm good. If you want to see how I make my bias tape, I have a whole video on that, which I will also put a little card to. I am tired thinking about it though. I try to emulate this when I make my own bias tape, but it is something that is definitely prevalent in store-bought bias tape, which is there's an edge that is a little wider. So the shorter one is what I'm going to put right sides together against the bottom hem here. Oh boy, let's zoom you back out. There we go. So I'm going to unfold this, lay the shorter edge of the bias tape against the right side of this bottom edge of the fabric, and I'm going to stitch right in this first groove here. I don't know how many yards the whole thing is, but this is a full circle skirt, so it's probably going to be a lot. This is going to take a little bit of time. Obviously, it's a circle skirt, so it's going to want to curve. I also thought this might be easier than trying to hem the whole damn thing by hand like I did with the handkerchief bottom. And I've seen people use bias tape as like a facing for the bottom hem almost, and I definitely want to try that because that seems brilliant. Like a single fold bias tape, I think. But there's no way that's not going to show through on here. So this is why I'm using the double fold bias tape, because you're going to be able to see it from both sides. That's kind of the purpose of it. Then at least this way it looks intentional, where it's going to be visible whether I want it to be or not. And yeah, there's going to be that slightest bit of a curve, but that's going to be easier and more subtle to follow than when you try to fold it up twice. The bottom edge of the hem on a circle skirt is going to be wider than what you're sewing it up into. And I guess that's why they make those curved hem gauges, is for circle skirts. I've never used one of those, the metal ones, but you're supposed to be able to like iron over it. That'll be on the list for down the road. I do plan to make a lot more skirts, but I just have straight bottom rectangular gathered skirts on the docket for right now. So it'll probably be a while till I do another circle skirt, but we'll get there. As we say, practice makes progress. And I feel like I gotta build up to using the fancier tools, you know? Okay, this will probably take a while. I'm gonna take my time because I do want to end up wearing this. I say this after hacking off the entire bottom half of this skirt with reckless abandon. I'm not gonna use a walking foot. I find that I have a harder time adding trims and stuff like this with the walking foot because it's all moving, or at least with a clear foot, you can still see shit, but it's gonna have pressure on it the whole time and not move around as much, which is A+. So I did end up needing to attach another length of bias tape. And if you haven't made your own bias tape before, you basically cut two 45-degree angles and line them up together, and then it continues without adding a ton of bulk if you had done like a straight seam, and you just attach them about 1/4 of an inch in. I didn't want to take my iron back out, so I finger pressed the seam down. I'm forever surprised how smoothly this goes whenever I do it. And I did the same thing when I got to the end of the hem. So I had left the beginning a little bit loose. I actually forgot it first and then had to unpick it. Just so you know, things often don't go smoothly for me. So if you're like, I could never do what you do, I fuck shit up all the time, you can do it, I promise. Anyway, so left the beginning loose by like, I don't know, 2 inches or so. And then I took the end, overlapped it a little bit. At first I cut the wrong direction angle, but thank goodness I still had enough overlap that when I sewed these together, it was a little hinky there for a second. I didn't know for sure that it was gonna lie flat. It laid exactly where I needed it to. There is a little bit of stretch to this fabric, so I could have fudged it a bit, where you do have to be a little bit more precise if there's no give, but is the joy in bias tape is there is a little bit of stretch because cut on the bias. That's why it's good for armholes and stuff like that, because there's some movement and flexibility, which I don't have a ton of, which is why I have to wear this fucking thing all the time because my body is broken. Anyways, once I attached that first edge, I folded the other edge over to the underside, and this is why having the wider side underneath is super helpful for me, because you're more likely to catch the whole thing, where if you have the shorter edge, you're playing with fire as far as making sure you're going through all the layers, because I like to stitch from the top side. I do check and like go very slow, especially with a curved edge like this, just to make sure things are lining up how I want. And because this is such a narrow bias tape with very floppy fabric, I did take this little scratch awl. These are super cheap to find at the hardware store. A screwdriver or like a pencil or something will also work. This obviously just doesn't mark stuff and has like a nice fine foin? What is this? A Jamie Kennedy movie from the early 2000s? I don't know. It's what works for me. I believe that there is another term for this called a stiletto in the sewing world that does the same thing. It's just a pokey tool that helps you poke shit into place when your big Hulk smash fingers can't get into the places you need it to. Then I just took my sweet ass time. I've been working on this, just this part, for probably an hour and a half, and I'm really glad I took the time with it because it looks dope as hell. And like I was saying, it's kind of giving it more body and like shaping the hem a little bit more. So let's go try it on and do some twirlies and see how we like it, shall we? Also, it's super cold and rainy, so this is kind of the ideal garment to be wearing. I did wear it out because I'm participating in this Me Made May challenge over on Instagram, where I've been posting a handmade garment every day, or like a heavily adjusted thrifted garment every day, because I don't have 31 completely from scratch handmade garments. I'm well on my way to getting there, but it just wasn't feasible this month. And yeah, this is one that I don't wear very often, so it did force me to take it out of my closet, and I'm glad something so bright was in there because it's Memorial Day weekend and it is fucking disgusting outside. It's in the 40s, it's cold, it's rainy, it's also somehow humid, which makes me want to die. But yeah, having some bright flair like this made me really happy and genuinely less miserable this weekend. So this is why I am tackling this today. But yeah, continues to be shitty out, so let's go brighten up our space. Oh my god, it's so good. And I didn't do as bad of a job cutting this as I thought. This is looking pretty even. And if it is feeling wonky, what I like about this being one whole piece is there's no seams to contend with. So I can turn it whatever goddamn direction I want. So if I want blue on this side and yellow on this side, I can do that. If I want like yellow to be the prominent one, it's fucking great. I love this thing. This is much more my typical color palette, but I love having all of it. It's, fuck, I love this skirt. And this is much more breathable. Honestly, just having it like a skosh above my knees is an absolute game changer for this. Also, the best part I just realized about this bias tape is that I didn't lose any length on this skirt. So when I cut it at 20 inches, if I had hemmed that up, it'd be less of an ideal length than I was thinking. And I'm actually really surprised with how much I like this. And I think, like I said earlier, because I have this elastic band here and it's nice and narrow, having this doesn't look too out of place. I don't know. What do y'all think? This went surprisingly well considering how I just kind of hacked into it at the beginning and hadn't ever tried this technique before. I hope my thought process at the beginning makes sense as far as me not want to participate in rainbow washing. Like, I love this skirt. It is pure happenstance that I'm working on it this week, and I just want to make super sure that y'all know that. And of course, I'm probably just overthinking all of this. Basically, I'm trying not to be a total shithead. It's my duty to keep doing better, and I super appreciate that so many of you will have honest talks with me, and I've grown so much because of those conversations. So I appreciate you giving me your time and knowledge when you don't owe me shit. And if you're one of these people, thank you so much for all of the support you've been giving me for an outrageously long time. These projects wouldn't be happening without you, and I wouldn't be able to revamp all my shit like this and actually enjoy my clothes. So thank you all so much. Oh, someone woke up from his nap. Well, we will see you back here with another video next Friday. Thank you so much for hanging out.